Assalamu alaikum, and my name is Kiran Amir. I welcome you all as an administrator of Parsa HealthNet ECHO. This is the 8th session organized under Parsa HealthNet ECHO banner, COVID response banner. Thanks again for taking part in our simple registration process, which is beneficial for all concerned and will increase efficiency in the long run. Today's session is titled COVID-19 Case Discussion. Will be jointly handled by the International and National Faculty of Parsa HealthNet ECHO. The panelists include Professor Altaf Alam, our course director Parsa ECHO Pakistan, and Professor Adil Bhatt, joining us from Qatar, Dr. Farooq Khan joining from UK, Dr. Bushra Ali, Parsa ECHO Lead Punjab, Dr. Zishan Ali, Parsa ECHO Lead Sindh. Dr. Oj will present the cases for today, and Dr. Asad Ali Chaudhry will brief us further about the session.
Thank you, Dr. Raj. I'm going to share the screen for you.
Dr. Raj, there are two cases. You start with case number 1, which is a brief one for a quick response, and there is the case number 2, which is a little bit more complicated. And then we'll have discussion. Dr. Raj, over to you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Dr. Raj, is my screen visible to you?
Yes, Suzaiba, it's visible now. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to start presenting the case now. The case 1 is a 58-year-old female, hypertensive, taking telmisartan 40 mg. She had a history of fever and dry cough since 8 days, already on treatment with tablet azithromycin 500 mg OD and cough syrup and tablet paracetamol TDS. Her saturation was 98%. She's on above medicine since 2 days. She consulted us on our helpline as worried about dry cough. Next slide, please, Azarbai. Her lab investigations were as follows. HB was 13.7, TLC 6.6, and platelets 252. D-dimer was 241, and serum ferritin was 228. LDH was 268, and CRP was 1.87. Her COVID-19 PCR was detected on 23rd of June, and her chest X-ray was not done. Next slide. The questions are, should she have a chest X-ray? And does she need repeat labs? How to best manage the cough in this patient?
Thank you very much, ma'am. The mic is over to Dr. Asad, please.
I'll start with Dr. Farooq. Farooq, it appears to be a mild case who just seeks consultation for cough, basically that she was worried about, already on azithromycin. So tests are not bad. So what do you suggest here? Should we get a chest X-ray about managing cough and any other follow-up labs? Over to you, Farooq. You are muted, Farooq. Can you
hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Okay, yes, I agree. This is a mild case. अच्छा, इसमें कुछ चीजें बहुत reassuring है. And I really still want to stick to basics what we have discussed a couple of weeks ago. इनको अगर हम ये समझ लें कि day 1 जो symptoms का था, that was 8 days ago. अब इसका मतलब ये है कि if you look at the cycle of the COVID-19, asymptomatic or pre-infective, if you like, time, which is the 5 days, then your day 1 of infection, and then you move forward. So I think she's out of the zone where she will have any significant problems now. So day 2 of symptoms to then day 6. So day 2 and day 6, ये 5 दिन जो हैं, ये किसी भी पेशेंट के लिए बड़े relevant होते हैं. और usually अब तक अगर इन्होंने deteriorate करना होता, तो ये अब तक deteriorate कर चुके होते. So she is probably going to be, as Asad said, in a very mild category who will not have major issues. However, she is 50A and she's got hypertension. So I guess we can put her down as high risk group, although she's a female, which is another good sign. should we get an X-ray? अगर temperature इनका continue करता रहता है, so I do not think it's unreasonable for a dry cough in a country where TB is not uncommon either. It's unreasonable to do a chest X-ray, but I don't think that will actually change the outcome from the COVID management point of view. Cough को इनके कैसे treat करना हमने? Just simple cough management really. I don't think antibiotics, as far as cough, particularly dry cough is concerned, has any role. So Linctus ले ले, honey and lime ले सकती हैं. जो usual remedies हैं. Can they take cough syrups? Yes, they can if they want to, but there is no real worry here.
Thank you. Thank you, Farooq. Dr. Altaf, आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहेंगे इस केस की मैनेजमेंट में? Anything that you would like to suggest here or? I think. Okay. Thank you, Farooq. I think what we will do is we'll move on to our next case, which is a bit more complicated. Dr. Raj, can you go with start with the next case, please? So
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So Asad, while you're putting in the next case, can I make a comment or two, please?
Dr. Adil, please go ahead.
So I speak from an infectious disease perspective. So ऐसा मरीज जब आता है, तो when you're worried about pneumonia, your algorithm, the first thing you need to do is do a chest X-ray to determine if there is a true pneumonia or is it a viral non-lower respiratory tract infection. In other words, it's limited to the upper respiratory tract. So your dichotomy of जहाँ पे अपनी decision tree आपका बनता है, वो chest X-ray पे बनता है. Based on a chest X-ray, if the chest X-ray is normal, you rule out a pneumonia in vast majority of patients. And she does not have structural lung disease. She does not have COPD, वगैरह. So if her chest X-ray is normal, it is extremely unlikely that she has a pneumonia or a lower respiratory tract infection, in which case azithromycin was unwarranted. So azithromycin देने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं थी. It can increase complications in people. So that I would have done a chest X-ray right up front. But इस मौके में भी there is a slight role in chest X-ray because if you are having a cough or other symptoms, studies have shown that between 50 to 70% of people who are symptomatic have chest X-ray abnormalities with COVID-19. So it will be a good place to set a baseline. Does she have abnormalities with chest X-ray or not? And the reason to set that baseline is कि थोड़ा सा मैं इख्तिलाफ करूँगा with my very, very dear colleague कि there is still a chance of deterioration in a small yet finite number of people who go on to develop ARDS. Or one of the strong predictors of ARDS is chest X-ray abnormalities. So अगर chest X-ray पे bilateral pneumonia नजर आता है, this is a patient I would watch very closely and carefully for any deterioration, whether it is by oxygen saturation measurements or any other means. So those are the things I would add.
Thank you, Dr. Adil. She did okay क्योंकि इसको हमारा थोड़ा सा राब्ता था, तो we are fortunate कि she didn't develop any complication. उसकी saturation भी ठीक थी और आज 10 जुलाई है, तो she did okay. But I think your point is well taken. With cough, we should be getting a chest X-ray. And the other thing was कि हमने इसके टेस्ट दोबारा नहीं कराए थे because she didn't report any symptoms afterwards. She was already on azithromycin, so we just asked her to take for 5 days and stopped. गो कि ये वो नहीं बनता क्योंकि ये जब mostly patients दवाइयाँ लेके आ रहे होते हैं. So I think we move on to case number 2. Dr. Raj, if you can start.
Yes, sir. The case 2 shows a 38-year-old male, non-alcoholic, non-smoker, no comorbidities, and he had a history of cholecystectomy in 2017. On 15th June 2020, he suffered from sore throat, low-grade fever, developed anosmia 3 days later. He was prescribed azithromycin and Panadol by his GP and isolation at home. On 30th June 2020, he contacted us on our helpline with active complaint of loose motions, intermittent severe abdominal pain associated with nausea and vomiting. He has been on azithromycin throughout this time. Saturation was 95% on room air. He was afebrile, anxious, and SARS-CoV-2 IgG antibody was positive. COVID PCR was not done yet. He was reassured and azithromycin was stopped, told to increase fluid intake, and labs advised. The treatment he was given was Imodium, IV fluids, tablet paracetamol plus tramadol, and tablet metronidazole, ondansetron, and famotidine. Next slide, please. Next slide, is that right?
Wait, I'm sorting it out. Why it's not moving?
You can stop share and then re-share.
Okay.
Okay. The second one. July 1, 2020, his active complaint was severe abdominal pain, which was persistent, felt short of breath at times. Fever was 100°F and saturation was 92 to 95%. He complained of decreased intake and severe abdominal pain with oral intake, be it liquid or semi-solid. Loose motion settled and mild nausea was present. His lab investigations were as follows. HB was 16.7, TLC 25.8, platelets 384, neutrophils were 75, lymphocytes 11, LFTs were normal, CRET was 1.19, sodium 147, and potassium was 4.1. Next slide. His chest X-ray is shown. On July 1st, 2020, he still had severe abdominal pain, especially with oral intake. And his fever was 100°F. He felt short of breath at times, and saturation was 92 to 95%. Decreased intake, loose motion settled, and mild nausea. He was advised to repeat D-dimers, LDH, ferritin, procalcitonin, and COVID PCR swab. His treatment was changed to injection ceftriaxone, injection metronidazole, IV fluids, IV tramadol, IV omeprazole, IV ondansetron, and paracetamol. The lab investigations were repeated. C-reactive protein was then 3.51, D-dimer was 1076, and LDH was 343. Next slide, please. On July 3rd, he still had severe abdominal pain, which was persistent with oral intake. Fever was better, saturation was 95%, and at room air, no constipation, and he was apyrexia. COVID-19 PCR swab was positive, and repeat labs and CT abdomen pelvis was advised. The repeated labs were as follows. HB was 13.5, TLC 17, platelets 243, neutrophils 66, and lymphocytes were 17, urea 30, CRET was 0.78, sodium 138, and potassium was 3.8. C-reactive protein had raised to 5.69, D-dimers were 345, ferritin 176.91, LDH was 202, and procalcitonin was 0.09. Next slide. CT thorax, abdomen and pelvis showed fibrosis in lungs with mediastinal adenopathy, may represent sarcoidosis or TB, partial intussusception in the mid-jejunum, probably duplication cyst in the pelvis. No vascular thrombus was seen. On July 6, 2020, he was feeling a bit better. Abdominal pain was intermittent, nausea and vomiting had settled, saturation was 95%, CBC C-reactive protein were advised to be repeated. His labs were as follows: HP was 13.0, TLC 9.2, and platelets were 259, neutrophils 75, lymphocytes were 11, and C-reactive protein had decreased to 1.5. Next slide. The questions regarding this case are: what is the cause of severe abdominal symptoms? What is the significance of positive PCR swab after 2 weeks when he is antibody positive? Does he need isolation at this stage? If yes, then for how long? The patient is very anxious. Should we consider anxiolytics or antidepressants here?
Thank you very much, ma'am. The mic is over to
Thank
Dr.
you. Thank you, Aj. Ji, so basically, we had this patient and a young lad who contacted us. He has been in isolation from 15th of June, and on 30th of June, when he was to de-isolate, so he had these abdominal symptoms. He never had COVID PCR initially, no labs at that time, and he came to us with antibody positive. It was borderline, if I remember correctly, the cutoff था वो 3 point something था इसका जो ये report होता है. And then all the hell broke loose. His abdominal pain. He was on azithromycin for 2 weeks by his doctor, and the severe abdominal pain. Shown chest X बाद में कराया गया, उसका पहले एक्सरे नहीं हुआ था, और सीटी स्कैन की जो रिपोर्ट है वो आप शेयर की, you know, and so what we do now, क्योंकि पहली विजिट पे I actually reassured him कि भाई आप 2 हफ्ते आगे आ गए हैं, you are well, and inshallah things will be fine. But for next 4 to 5 days, so he gave us a very tough time with his abdominal symptoms, especially with severe abdominal pain. Alhamdulillah, he's better now. So, Ji Farooq, we start with you and then we move on.
I think, so let me answer the first question. What's the cause of the abdominal pain? I think I would like the radiologist to tell me about what the pancreas looked like जब उसने CT को report किया. And in my opinion, this is a very classic presentation that this guy has had involvement of pancreas. ये uncommon बिल्कुल नहीं है कि अगर हम even mild to moderate pancreatitis भी अगर जिन patients में होता है ना, तो उनके we always see some fat stranding and we always see some fluid which always involve basal lungs. So I'm not entirely sure whether he's got some lymphadenopathy. Is that lymphadenopathy abdominal or chest? Or
it was in chest. It was in chest. Abdomen. Right. Okay, and fine. Pancreas has been reported to be. We couldn't find it filmed actually, otherwise would have shared. So, in situations when, particularly if it's ACE2 receptors induced inflammation, जो हम pancreas में देखते हैं, lipase and amylase are rather not classically or very raised for us to take the diagnosis one way or other. But the symptoms that he has was in fact particularly pain after eating. अगर आप उसको देखो, and ongoing nausea, because we also know when these patients of pancreatitis, they have certain days in their symptoms when there is a delayed gastric emptying or gastric stasis, if you like. So therefore these patients have this ongoing
aura of nausea all the time, whether they eat or not. And if and when they start eating, they do get pain. अच्छा ये intussusception वाली जो चीज़ है, that may or may not be clearly, again it's all depends on the radiology really, who has seen the CT, and this might be a red herring, I don't know. Intussusception COVID related thing, probably not. Can he have intussusception down to the fact that he was just vomiting and that would have caused it? Possible. And clearly this guy has a delayed and the long presentation, if you like. He also had involvement of not just the respiratory system, he clearly had involvement of the GI tract. Diarrhea may or may not be related directly to COVID. This could potentially be 3 weeks worth of azithromycin. वो आप हमें से अगर किसी को भी दे दोगे, so they may well have diarrhea. And his diarrhea is actually stopped once you changed his, or stopped his antibiotics. Treatment जो आपने इसको दिया, that again tells me this is how we normally treat our pancreatitis patient, particularly वो जिनको moderate pancreatitis होता है. All we tend to do, हम उनका खाना नहीं बंद करते हैं. I'm a very big supporter of enteral feeding really, but if they really have severe pancreatitis causing almost gastric outlet obstruction, we then pass an NJ tube to feed. But feeding नहीं stop करनी चाहिए. Enteral feed is always more preferred. All you do, you carry them on oxygen and you IV fluids, and that has got very decent evidence. आपने antibiotics भी दी हैं, that may or may not be debatable. Lekin this is how you would treat pancreatitis as well. And I think the reason that he's improved is by that fact. That would be his gastric involvement, I think. Hello? Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Ji Farooq.
Assalamu alaikum ji. I'm sorry.
Nadeem Tehami. Ji Nadeem, good to have you. Nadeem, if you can give your comments. Uzair, can you unmute Dr. Nadeem Tehami?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Well, thank you very much for letting me speak. Pehli baat to I would like to second Farooq's comments here. Like your first thought which came to my mind is that anybody who's been on antibiotics, and if they have a white cell count approaching 30, the first thing that comes to mind of, I think, most gastroenterologists is C. difficile associated diarrhea. And that has to be obviously taken care of. And I think it was taken care of because the patient was then put on metronidazole, so it might have helped. Now, coming to the point of abdominal pain, I think I fully support what Farooq has. Could have easily been a case of pancreas involvement in a case of COVID infection. Now, pancreas is regarded as usually a scruffy little cousin of liver who isn't given much attention. And it was thought that pancreas, because it hasn't got an epithelium, so there are no ACE2 receptors. But now I think we have adequate data to support that there are ACE2 receptors in the islet cells, and also they believe there are some ACE receptors in SNR cells, which is why when these patients presents, we see in some cases COVID unmasking the diabetes, and in others, the blood glucose level fluctuating all over the place. Now, the third thing, so we always have to bear in mind that there could be pancreas involvement. Now, majority, I think, as Farooq said, we have to go back to the radiologist and ask them to share the CT images, because that what helps you. Sometime in the initial phase, CT pancreas changes are not obvious, so we discourage doing CT scans within sort of first 72 hours at presentation of pancreatitis, because you will not see much in the pancreas. As far as amylase and lipase is concerned, they can be non-specifically elevated, but as Farooq said, this would have guided treatment in some respect. Treatment with fluid, with analgesia, and I think antibiotics is always debatable. We try to avoid them. Finally, one more thing, and I'm sorry if I may create some controversy here, and that is we have started to see patients who had COVID infection, they got better, and then they represented. And when they represented, they presented with very severe illness. So it's worrying for us, because this is what we have seen in our practice. And we've had a session with one of our infectious disease consultants this Friday, which is where they've highlighted 7 cases who've presented in last 1 week, and these were the cases who were previously regarded not severe cases and were not or did not require any further treatment. So is it a representation? I guess we've got Professor Butt who might be able to sort of help us further here. But that's where. So this is all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Nadeem.
Thank you, Nadeem.
That's very
I will
helpful.
go to Dr. I will go to Dr. Adil Bhatt shortly. Farooq, we will be coming back. Uzair, can you unmute Shahid Sarwar? He has a question. Professor Shahid Sarwar.
Yes, sir. He can unmute himself.
Ji Shahid, please ask your question. And then Farooq and Dr. Adil Bhatt.
Yes, sir. My question is that now we are seeing a lot of cases and they are documenting a lot of thrombosis, and that's why anticoagulation is being used in this patient. Can this be a case of mesenteric ischemia? Is it a possibility after this much time?
So
I
think that's a valid point. That thought has also gone through my mind, particularly जब वो ये कह रहे हैं ना कि जैसे ही हम उसको खाना देते हैं तो उसके बाद उसको pain होती है. However, the good thing over here is that his CT has clearly excluded any vascular thrombus, if I'm correct, arterial as well as venous. Is that right, Asad?
Yes, sir. There were no thrombus seen in the CT.
Okay. Okay, good. But it's a valid point. It's a very valid point. Mesenteric ischemia, although his risk factors are relatively less, he is non-alcoholic, he's non-smoker, he's 38. But with COVID presentation, I think that's very relevant. जो दूसरा point जो मैं नदीम कह रहा था, that's absolutely spot on. वो patients जिनमें एक से ज़्यादा system involved होते हैं, they do present late, and unfortunately they do attract the severity of illness. So ये ज़हन में रखें, particularly वो MOs जो telephone पे patient को assess कर रहे हैं ना, आप लोग kindly ये ज़हन में रखो कि वो patients जिनको onset पे multi system involvement है, i.e. respiratory as well as GI involvement or any other, then just bear that in mind. Keep a very close eye on these patients because they have a potential to go off A and B. They can present late as well, and the severity could come back late. अब जिस तरह इस patient में अगर आप देखो, so it wasn't the respiratory illness that's brought him back to you guys. It wasn't the respiratory illness, जो कि well known for COVID है, which held him to the hospital under you guys. It was actually the GI side of the problem. So just bear that in mind when you assess patients on the phone. But as Nadeem says, this is absolutely spot on. The late disease presentation are actually more severe. Thank you.
Thank you, Farooq. अब मैं Khalid Hassan से a quick take on abdominal symptoms. उसके बाद का जो question है, I will be requesting Adil Bhatt and Javed Iqbal Farooqi. Ji Khalid, you have any comments on his abdominal pain? आप कहना चाहोगे इस केस के बारे में? Khalid, are you with us? Khalid Hassan. Okay. I think अच्छा, अब जो next question है, I'll be asking Dr. Adil Bhatt and Dr. Farooqi. अब ये जो केस है 15 जून से आइसोलेटेड है, इसने अपना PCR नहीं करवाया और ये 30 जून को पूरे 15 दिन के बाद हमारे पास आ रहा है और उसको सिम्टम्स हैं और ये कोविड एंटीबॉडी पॉजिटिव की रिपोर्ट लेके आ रहा है और अब मैं इसकी क्या करूं, इसकी सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है? मैंने इसका PCR रिक्वेस्ट किया, आई वॉज वरीड, और इसका PCR भी पॉजिटिव आया और एंटीबॉडी भी पॉजिटिव है और इसकी सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है, नंबर 1, और इसके साथ ही अब मैंने इसकी आइसोलेशन का क्या करना है? जी डॉक्टर अदील और डॉक्टर फारूकी, मैं आपसे भी यही
देखिए जी, इसमें तो there are so many teaching points in this case कि we'll have to start from the beginning if you allow me. कि this is a classic case from our point of view of something that we gave him. So this patient had a typical presentation of COVID-19 with anosmia, etc., and other related upper respiratory symptoms. He was given azithromycin, which probably should not have been given. But then when he was given azithromycin for 2 weeks. तो वो 2 weeks खत्म हुए तो उसके बाद उसका जो abdominal symptoms शुरू हुए, and his abdominal symptoms were diarrhea and abdominal pain. Now, all macrolides are structurally related to the gastric hormone motilin. तो ये सब macrolides जो होती हैं, they cause significant peristalsis and contractions of your stomach and so forth, and they cause severe abdominal cramps. So that is very well known, and that may have contributed to that. The fact that he developed diarrhea after 2 weeks of infection, and then he had leukocytosis, Nadeem was absolutely right. My first suspicion would have been C. difficile diarrhea. We have seen cases. I worked for 10 years at one of the biggest C. difficile hotbeds in the world in Pittsburgh. One of the common presentations of severe C. difficile was isolated leukocytosis. So इसको the fever था, leukocytosis था, diarrhea था. So that is a classic presentation of C. difficile. One thing that I would have done at that point was stool C. difficile toxin assay. That would have been my number 1 test to do. दूसरी चीज ये है कि फिर उसको जब आपने तो बहुत सही किया असद, you stopped the azithromycin, but then he was put on ceftriaxone and a whole bunch of other things, ceftriaxone and also proton pump inhibitors, if I'm not mistaken. So there was a paper which was published 4 or 5 days ago. Proton pump inhibitors have been associated with worse outcomes in COVID-19. So based on that paper, I would stop giving proton pump inhibitors unless there is a specific need for that. Coming to ceftriaxone, it's not clear why ceftriaxone was given. Probably someone thought that chest X-ray looked like the pneumonia, but that is also a very classic pneumonia, chest X-ray picture of a viral pneumonia. The differentiating feature there was procalcitonin level. So if you have procalcitonin level kara liya, so then we should act on that. If the procalcitonin level is less than 0.5, some use a 0.25 cutoff, then you can withhold antibiotics unless the clinical suspicion of bacterial pneumonia is very, very high. तो इसको देख तो पहली सस्पेशन था C. difficile का, ऊपर से आपने इसको फिर ceftriaxone दे दी when procalcitonin level was relatively normal, and जब antibiotics खत्म हुए थे, symptoms started getting better and so forth. So those are some of the things. Now his initial presentation, I don't know why people are doing antibody levels at initial presentation of possible COVID. It should not be done. When patient presents with acute symptoms compatible with COVID-19, do not do an antibody test. The nasopharyngeal swab for PCR is probably the right thing to do, but there's no need and there's no value of antibody testing. अब चूंकि इसकी presentation, as Farooq has repeatedly told us over the last several months, के इतने दिन गुजर जाने के बाद अगर आपका टेस्ट फिर भी positive है, then probably does not mean much. कि his presentation was very, very typical of COVID, but that was June 15th. Ab June 15th or June 30th ke darmiyan uska, he would have recovered at least from his initial COVID. Chest X-ray abnormalities will remain for several weeks probably. So don't just go by chest X-ray abnormalities alone. So if possible, I would have asked the lab to tell me what the CT value on that PCR was. Usse mujhe pata chala if CT value was more than 28, or definitely more than 30, then this is just viral fragments and non-viable virus. So I would have taken this patient out of isolation at that point in time. And वैसे भी लगता है symptoms कि he's settling down. I'll stop here and back to you, Asad.
Thank you. Ji, Dr. Farooqi, thank you very much for joining. आप के क्या comments होंगे क्योंकि ये बड़ा हमारे लिए I'm glad Dr. Adil Bhatt has raised some very pertinent points, antibiotics और ये सारा कुछ, I mean, हम लोगों को ये बातें थोड़ी अजीब लगती हैं, लेकिन I'm really glad that he has raised this point. जी डॉक्टर फारूकी, आप ऐसे में आप क्या पाकिस्तान में प्रैक्टिकली क्या करेंगे? 15 दिन गुजर चुके हैं, वो फैमिलीज एंग्जियस, पीसीआर इज पॉजिटिव, आइसोलेशन का क्या करें?
या आपके पास पेशेंट आता है, ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन करके आता है, ये चीजें होती हैं। जितनी भी डिस्कशन हुई, एक बात की, ऑल वर द पॉसिबिलिटीज, फारूक साहब ने जितना बोला, नदीम साहब ने, अदिल साहब ने, एवरीवन, इवन शायद ने जो कहा, ये तो फॉर श्योर है कि ये जो इसके सिम्टम्स थे, दिस वाज द डायरेक्टली वायरोलॉजिक वायरस रिलेटेड, दिस वाज द पोस्ट वायरल इम्यूनोलॉजिकल जो रिएक्टिविटी थी उससे रिलेटेड सारी चीजें थी, ये तो कंफर्म है, ठीक है, और ये होना लेना भी चाहिए। बिकॉज जैसे अभी मैंने बोला था प्रीवियस वेबिनार में कि हमारा जो कोविड है, दिस इज द टोटल स्टोरी ऑफ द 3 वीक्स। इसके बाद तो फिर इसके जितने अगर इम्यून रिएक्टिविटी है तो उसके पॉसिबिलिटीज आती हैं। तो एक तो ये चीज है। दूसरी, यस, अगर सीटी स्कैन पर्टिकुलरली हम पेंक्रियाज या वास्कुलर इस्कीमिया को नहीं देखेंगे, हम मिस भी कर जाते हैं, ये भी एक चीज होती है। तो दिस ऑल आर द पॉसिबिलिटीज। ये पास पीसीआर जो है, दिस इज टिपिकली हम बोलते हैं कि दिस इज द नॉन वायबल वायरस या वायरल फ्रैगमेंट्स हैं, तो इट इज गॉट नो वैल्यू। मैक्सिमम बाय 14 डेज पीसीआर इन्फेक्टिविटी खत्म हो जाती है, और दिस पेशेंट्स probably is not infectious to anything. Isolation मेरे ख्याल में उसके ये जो है isolation is not needed here because इसका PCR अगर पॉजिटिव भी है, लेकिन this very thing because the 15 जून को इसकी symptoms हुए थे, it means say disease कोई 5-7 days before शुरू हो गए थे, तो it was probably something in the 9th or 10th जून को कहानी शुरू हो गई थी। Now we are in the 1st July, तो probably symptoms इसके ये हैं, लेकिन ये symptoms these are not to the virus related, these are most to the post viral sequelae हैं। तो with me probably it doesn't need these further isolation, almost probably 3 weeks इसके हो गए, वायरस की कोई significance नहीं है। एंटीबॉडीज मेरे ख्याल में ये मैसेज तो फारूक साहब भी दें और यहाँ से जाना चाहिए कि यार एंटीबॉडीज का न तो कोई डायग्नोस्टिक रोल है और न प्रॉब्ली कोई प्रोग्नोस्टिक रोल है। तो मेरे ख्याल में ये चीज ऐसी है बिकॉज इसमें इवन अगर आपका आज अगर आपका पेशेंट ठीक भी हो गया है, तो व्हाई यू आर डूइंग द रिपीट पीसीआर? अब उसमें 2 वीक्स के लिए प्रॉब्ली रिपीट पीसीआर की भी जरूरत नहीं है। सो दिस लेकिन एंटीबॉडीज में जो देख रहा हूँ कि फ्यूचर में प्रॉब्ली इन पाकिस्तान सिनेरियो we'll be having a lot of antibodies, the ICT testing, all those things. Unfortunately, this is actually unfortunate point, लेकिन the effect है, तो इस चीज के लिए तैयार होना चाहिए। And I think this is a typical scenario, and probably it's better कि इसको full follow करें and you report this case. This is really very interesting case and very learning parts in this. This is what I want.
Thank you. Thank you. Fortunately, हमारा मरीज जो है, he did well. ही इम्प्रूव्ड, और जिसका डॉक्टर अदील भट्ट ने भी कहा, मेट्रोनाइडाजोल जो हम सीडी डायरिया की बात कर रहे हैं, मैं आई विल गो टू काशिफ मलिक, जो हमारा अगला सवाल है इससे रिलेटेड। डॉक्टर प्रोफेसर काशिफ मलिक इज ऑनलाइन। काशिफ की ही रिमेन वेरी एंशियस। ये हमारी पिछली टॉपिक में भी था, आप भी बहुत सारे देख रही हो, बीइंग इन अ वेरी बिग सेटअप इन लाहौर। यहाँ पे इसकी जो एंग्जियोलिटिक्स का या कि लो डोज एंटी डिप्रेसेंट, आई नो कि मे बी कि ये सवाल बहुत पर्टिनेंट हिस्सा नहीं है, लेकिन व्हाट्स योर टेक ऑन दैट? आप कैसे हैंडल करते हो? ही वाज वेरी एंशियस, ही गॉट बेटर, लेकिन एंजाइटी उसकी और उसकी फैमिली की, दैट वाज समथिंग टू डील विद। तो आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस है एंड हाउ डू यू सॉर्ट दिस आउट? जी काशिफ।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच। एक्चुअली इसमें जो बेसिकली हम तो डायरेक्टली डील नहीं कर रहे, हम जिनको डील कर रहे हैं बेसिकली शेख ज़ैद में, इन्होंने हमें कोविड का हमने सेंटर नहीं बनाया था, लेकिन व्हाट वी हैव सीन विद आवर पल्मोनोलॉजिस्ट एंड अदर प्राइवेट सेटअप्स, तो ये तो ऐड कर रहे हैं उसको। आई डोंट नो कि इसकी कितनी रेलिवेंस रहती है, लेकिन इससे ये देखा है कि पेशेंट की थोड़ा सा जो एंशियस है पेशेंट, वो बेहतर होना शुरू हो जाता है, बिकॉज सारी फैमिली एंशियस हुई होती है, और इसका ऑब्वियसली थोड़ा सा पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट होता है। एक तो चीज ये होगी, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट माय फील्ड, तो यूजुअली हम उनसे ही हेल्प लेते हैं, साइकियाट्रिस्ट और उनसे। दूसरी चीज जो थी ना, अदील भट्ट साहब ने जो बात की है ना, उसके हवाले से मैं सी डेफिशिएंट की नदीम ने भी बात की, इन्होंने भी की है। मैं अपने बाकी जितने भी यहाँ पे कंसल्टेंट्स बैठे हैं, इनका मैं लेना चाहूंगा व्यू पॉइंट कि इन्होंने कितना सी डेफिशिएंट पॉजिटिव जो है स्टूल के अंदर देखा है, बिकॉज वी हैव सीन पेशेंट्स जिनके अंदर इस किस्म की पिक्चर आती है। और जब भी हम बाहर से इंटरनेशनल कोई भी कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करके आते थे जीआई की, तो उसमें सी डेफिशिएंट पे बहुत जोर है, और वैसे भी होता है। हमारा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमने जब भी इनको करवा के चेक किया है, we didn't find this कि जी this is positive, even with good labs, और अगर हम टाइमली भी करें, एक ये चीज इसके हवाले से मैं थोड़ा व्यू पॉइंट लूंगा। हम करते तो यही है कि हम इनका मेट्रोनिडाजोल पे डाल के एंटीबायोटिक बंद करते हैं, लेकिन ये सिर्फ क्लिनिकल होता है, हमें कोई लैब टेस्ट इस किस्म का मिलता नहीं है। प्रोफेसर अल्ताफ आलम इज हियर, उनसे मैं जरा उनका ओपिनियन भी लेना चाहूंगा इस बारे में।
Thank you. जी, thank you. Thank you. Before we go to Altaf Alam Saab, we have Dr. Athar Saeed here, who is an eminent guy from UK. Can we unmute Dr. Athar Saeed and take his comment, and then we'll go to Dr. Zishan, because वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा locally involved हैं on this C. difficile thing, and Dr. Altaf. जी, Dr. Athar Saeed, please.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for asking. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome.
जी, थैंक यू। मैं डायरेक्टली इन्वॉल्व नहीं हूँ इस पेशेंट केयर में कोविड की, लेकिन आई हैव ट्राइड टू स्टे अप टू डेट विद द डेटा एंड आल्सो द सिचुएशन दैट्स इवॉल्विंग इन द यूके एज वेल एज इन पाकिस्तान। सी डिफ के बारे में मैं ये ज़रूर कहूँगा कि यहाँ पे इंग्लैंड में एटलीस्ट वी हैव वेरियस टेस्ट, जो कि एक एंजाइम टेस्ट होता है, उसके अलावा PCR से हम टॉक्सिन टेस्ट करते हैं। तो आई थिंक इन दिस केस आई वुड हैव थॉट के दिस वुड बी माय फर्स्ट थॉट, जैसा कि नदीम ने कहा था। सो आई वुड हैव डन इट एंड रूल्ड इट आउट। मुझे ये नहीं पता कि बाल फ्लोरा या प्रेवलेंस पाकिस्तान में फर्क है, अगर है तो क्यों है। सो दिस वुड बी माय कमेंट। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. Zishan, we'd like to hear from you.
ये जो आपका second case, I agree there are so many teaching points in that. I agreed with most of the discussion के to begin with abdominal symptoms की जो local causes हैं other than COVID has to be in the mind as well. But what in practice we have seen a significant number of the cases, abdominal symptoms when they present after day 10, and the a cytokine release syndrome. I've seen at least 3 or 4 patients presenting with cytokine release syndrome as vomiting and diarrhea on day 11, 12, or 13. I remember 4 of my patients. One of my colleague is a consultant rheumatologist, and he suffered ARDS as well, and luckily he survived and is still at home, unable to come back after a month even. So this day 15 is the latest which I have come across. I've seen some more than 500 cases now. So in this particular case, yes, the antibiotic associated diarrhea is the most likely answer to it, and stopping antibiotics, I agree with the Adil. We continue to bombard our patients with different antibiotics. In our COVID unit, every patient on entry is being prescribed. I keep on stopping antibiotics more than prescribing any antibiotics. One of my patients, I remember on day 20, because he was in ARDS oxygen dependent, he was not discharged from the hospital. He developed severe abdominal pain and vomiting, and that was because of that antibiotic. Stopping antibiotic and giving did relieved him, and yesterday he was on the 30th day he was discharged from the hospital as well. So in our practice, we have to look into this irrational use of antibiotics. This azithromycin business is very bad going on. For every upper respiratory tract infection, for few hours of history of fever, everybody is getting it, and we as a healthcare community should discourage this judicious use of antibiotic in this COVID era. And abdominal symptoms, yes, but day 10 in the previous case as well as the day 8, what I have picked up in my clinical experience, because that Dr. Adil have got ID background, I don't have that, but in what I can see, fever only may not be the symptom which predicts late deterioration, but if the patient's oral intake has not been good from day 7 to day 11, these are the 4 or 5 days in which if the patient's oral intake is not improved and fever persists or the severe weakness develop, these are the patients who would present as a late second presentation. Most of these patients even lose fever as well, but they would continue to have poor oral intake and they will continue to have weakness. and after 3 or 4 or 5 days of lag, they come back with another symptom, and most of them is these abdominal symptoms, and they can have. So we should monitor these patients if they have got inability to take oral, and this is what I have picked up. The cases who don't get oral intake normalized at day 7 or 8 are the cases who are very likely to deteriorate late at day 11, 12 or 13.
Th-
So that is what I wanted to just
Thank
add as
you.
a comment.
Doctor, thank you. Dr. Altaf, Kashif said to ask about your experience with Clostridium difficile thing. And after your answer, Dr. Bushra may have a couple of quick questions. Ji, Dr. Altaf. Can we unmute Dr. Altaf?
Unmute him,
Uzair Haris, please.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I agree. I think now with the availability of PCR tests for Clostridium difficile in our labs, we will have a better outcome. I don't think we are a different species from, the Caucasians and the Asians. They probably behave the same way. They have a similar response to the antibiotics and other things. The responses are similar. So I personally feel it is lack of detection rather than lack of presence of C. diff diarrhea that we are seeing here. And I think now many of the labs are doing PCR tests, and that will improve. We were relying heavily on the C. diff toxin test previously, but now with the PCR, I think we'll be in a better position to diagnose more and more pseudomembranous colitis. Thank you.
Thank you. Ji, Dr. Bushra, if you have any burning questions, please go ahead. Dr. Bushra, are you with us?
It's a problem of electricity in Lahore because of this rain.
Here
That is the
strong,
main
and
issue.
I think the problems of net and electricity. Asad, you go ahead and ask the questions. Bushra may not be able to connect.
Okay. Okay. Yes. I think most of the questions they have been taken care of. We have talked about antibiotic. There's one question about that those with loss of taste and smell, they tends to have a stable course. Dr. Adil, can you answer this question? Dr. Adil Bhatt. Ji Farooq, if you can answer this question.
Okay, sorry, just repeat the question for me, please.
Those patients who have loss of smell and taste, they tend to have a stable course.
No, not sure. I don't think I would want anyone to have a false reassurance, really. Please, हर patient को assessment के वक्त एक ही उस category में रखें. There hasn't been many studies looking at there have been studies looking at multi-systems, that if you have more system involvement than one, is your likelihood to become worse is quicker or not. But there isn't really just a symptom based, that if those patients who have just anosmia will have a mild illness. Unfortunately, this beast is very unknown. We are and we will carry on be learning about this. तो वो उस वाली चीज को बिल्कुल follow करें. If it's day 2 of symptom to day 8 of symptoms, so those 6 days have a very, very low threshold of expecting anything at all, really. अब वो जो mild, moderate और severe वाला algorithm डॉक्टर बुशरा ने दिया हुआ, आप लोगों को kindly उसको follow करते रहें with a very close follow up on those patients who are progressing from one category to the other, like moderate, from moderate A to moderate B to C, so that the true action can be taken in time. मैंने आप लोगों को लास्ट उसमें भी ना स्लाइड्स में भी बताया था कि डॉक्टर फारूकी ने भी आज जो वेबिनार में कहा है कि the earlier you catch and start treatment, and appropriate treatment for that matter, which does not include azithromycin, of course, then the chances of outcome of these patients are slightly better. The delay, हमने जो evidence भी आपको दिखाया था कि जो critical patients होते हैं, अगर उनमें आप देखो तो जो timeline graphs थे, they were actually becoming closer to those patients who have been treated and those who haven't. So I think it is really important. The idea of the take-home message जो आप लोगों को हम बार-बार देते हैं, particularly वो लोग who have really been very helpful and assessing patients over the phone, is day 2 of symptoms to day 8 of symptoms. Those 6 days are really, really important. And जैसे Dr. Zishan ने कहा, day 7 to day 12 of your
Thank you,
clinical
Farooq.
paradigm.
Thank you, Farooq. Last question by Dr. Nasir Abbasi. He's joined from Gujranwala, and then after that question, it will be over to you, Kiran. Ji, Dr. Nasir Abbasi, can somebody unmute him?
Okay, sir, thank you very much. It was a nice talk. अब मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि हमें देखते हैं टेस्ट करवा के जो कोविड पेशेंट्स हैं उनमें डी डायमर और फेरेटिन लेवल ये परसिस्ट करता है, तो क्वेश्चन मेरा ये है कि कितनी देर तक ये नॉर्मल वैल्यूज में वापस आ जाता है, ये डी डायमर और फेरेटिन लेवल्स जो है, बाकी सब ठीक हो जाते हैं लेकिन ये कुछ अरसे के लिए परसिस्ट करते होते हैं, तो काइंडली इसका जरा मुझे आंसर दे दें.
I'll take that, Asad, if it's okay with you.
Yeah, Farooq.
So again, it all depends to disease severity. The severe the disease is, the longer they're going to last. जो बहुत moderate diseases होते हैं, उसमें you would or should expect it to come down within the next 3 to 4 days. आपने इन patients में भी देखा होगा. However, the patients who go towards cytokine release syndrome, CRS as we call it, you see it actually goes into 4 figures, i.e. above 1,000, and those individuals don't do better at all. And yes, of course, it will take time in those to come down as well.
Sure. I think we should conclude here. So we would like to thank our Parsa HealthNet team and faculty members, Dr. Asad Ali Chaudhary, our director, Chairman Suhail Akhtar, Mr. Tabarak Hussain, Dr. Amna, our Echo Lead Payam, Mr. Uzair, our coordinator, Mr. Haris, IT support, and Salman. Also, we are very thankful to Ferozens Laboratories for an unrestricted educational grant along with PMA Gujranwala. The session will be uploaded soon on our YouTube channel. Uzair, please, can you take over?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, everybody. Allah Hafiz. Till next time.